Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher, said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." I'm so excited to have Craig Bowen and Esther Diez, two very important people in my life, here to tell their story, not only about GiftTree, but also about their own personal journey and transformation and how they've become successful. So welcome, Craig. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you,
Very
Justin.
happy to have you guys. Relentless, commonly defined as oppressively constant, determined, showing no abatement of severity, intensity, strength, or pace. I believe relentless is an ethos. You're not stopping until you get what you want. You're not taking no for an answer. No obstacle will deter you from your goals. Relentless mentality is where we get to tap into the mindset of change agents, leaders, and icons. My hope is that their stories will inspire and motivate others to transform their mentality in their profession, their personal life, and ultimately their communities. So remember, when it's tough, will you give up or will you be relentless? So real quick introduction on Craig and Esther. They're both co-executive chairman of GiftTree. GiftTree is an online retail and flower company nationwide. And Craig, as one of the principal owners of GiftTree, embodies a passion for impeccable quality in food, wine, and product presentation. Esther Diez, the co-founder and co-executive chairman of GiftTree with her husband Craig, has been the key operational leader within the company, ensuring all gifts are beautiful and made to exacting quality standards, assisting in production on the warehouse floor, and adding her input and great taste to signature design elements. Welcome. So before we get into GiftTree, I think one of the things that I've enjoyed learning about both of you guys is that GiftTree is really the secondary story, which is really your love story. So I was actually hoping you guys could share a little bit about how you met, where you met, and how you guys came to be, because it's kind of rare that American of Irish descent from Washington meets a young woman from Pamplona, Spain, which is somewhat of a homogeneous culture in Pamplona, Spain. So I was hoping you guys could share a little bit about how you met and how you came together.
Wow. Do you want to start?
No, you start.
Okay, so I'd struggled all my life to learn how to speak Spanish. I'd taken the first year of Spanish 3 times, and so I ultimately decided to go to Spain to visit a friend and decided to take an immersion course. Yeah. So speaking of Relentless, I was very determined but not very capable. And Esther was my instructor. She walked through the door one day in my first day of school there, and I fell immediately in love with her. And she took some convincing, but I am very persistent.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Esther, is it the same story that you remember, or?
Yes, it is. From the time that we met to the time that we start to live together passed about 3 years. Mm-hmm. Because Greg moved to the States and he was relentless, convincing me to come over and live here.
Okay.
And it took a little convincing because it was hard to leave my job behind and my friends. But I did it in '92, and it was wonderful.
So you're his teacher. He convinces you that he is he's worth a little bit more than just being a normal student, and you guys come together and move to Florida, is what I remember, right?
Key West,
Florida,
Mm-hmm.
in which is a pretty big move, right? So you're moving from Spain to Florida, and you guys decide to come up with this idea in the 90s about gifts. So Craig and Esther, can you tell me what GiftTree does?
So we're a online retailer. We provide very high quality gift baskets and personalized gifts, and we also sell a lot of flowers through florists nationwide. We have 3 warehouses kind of across the country, and we've got most of the country covered in a 2-day shipping zone. So people typically now they order things late. So that's probably the best description. And we tend to be an upper scale product line. It's, we're not mass market, really more of a refined taste.
Okay. So in terms of your breakdown of sales when you started between gifts and flowers, what was the percentage of gifts and flowers when you started to what it is today, and where has the business changed along the way to really get to what GiftTree is in 2018?
It's odd. So when we first started out, it was very easy to sell flowers. Gift baskets, you really just sell them at the holidays in any type of meaningful volume. So our sales were dominated by flower sales, even on an annual basis. I would say probably something like 80-20. And it's funny, very early on we started to call ourselves a gift basket company. We really did not want to refer to ourselves as a flower company.
Sure.
Even though I think for the first, 15 years we sold a lot more flowers than gift baskets. But now it's obvious that we really are known as a gift basket company, and we it's our primary sales line is gift baskets.
Mhm.
It's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more difficulties in both manufacturing and shipping and delivering them, but we feel we have more control over the quality, and it's where our passion lies in this industry. So.
Your passion has been in creating the gift experience, is my understanding. So when you started, how many gifts, on average, were you guys, selling a week? When you very first started getting those invoices and putting together the online warehouse or online merchant marketing and so forth, how many gifts were you selling?
In the beginning, I think it was like 6 units a day.
6 to 10.
6 to 10, and at the holidays, I think it was up to 80 a day or something like that.
80 or 100 a day. Yeah.
And we got few large orders, but we did. And when I say large orders, maybe there were 10-unit orders, and that was very exciting.
Okay. So let's fast forward 20 years later. You've been in the business with 21 years now, right?
Yeah.
So what does it compare to now in terms of scale?
So I think we had a day this last Christmas where we sold, what was it, 25,000
Wow.
gift baskets a day?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you did in Key West and how you came up with that idea and how you started the company.
Okay, so I explained I was in the university for several years, and after I graduated, I went traveling, and I was always a waiter, and so it was a great way to travel and earn the money you need. So I went to Key West because I thought it was someplace that Esther would be interested in coming to visit. That's really why I picked it, and it worked out. So that was a good call. And one day we had a discussion. Let's start an internet-based company, and we really at that point didn't have an idea. And we thought about what would be a great internet-based company, and I came up with the idea of a gift company because of the distribution of American families. They're kind of, so you buy a gift to go to the post office and ship it away. So that's what we came up with. I realized how many other probably easier ideas there were, that like 10,000 easier ideas that we missed, but it's been a lot of fun. And so
And Esther, you were learning English at this time, and you guys
Yes.
are, working multiple jobs in Key West, is my understanding, and you come up with this idea to kind of leverage what you guys have saved as a couple coming together and started this idea, kind of a unique idea at the time, right? With the .com is kind of 90s, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you feel about that as a couple coming together? Because it's very rare, husband and wife working together and having as much success as you guys did in the beginning. What was the fear there? How did you get over that? From both sides, how did you guys get through that to say, hey, we're going to, invest what we have into starting this business from an idea that really stemmed, that was very unique, at that time?
I mean, although it sounds funny, and we had some good jobs in Key West, we knew that was not going to be our future. So we knew we wanted to move or change the pace that we how we were living. And when Greg proposed the idea of starting our own business, I thought it was a very good idea.
Okay.
To achieve our goals, one of them was to move back to Spain in about 10 years. And so we started. I went with the flow because I really didn't know much about business. So I tried to help Greg in any way I could. I remember I started to learn QuickBooks, Photoshop, just to do some parts that I thought I was going to be able to do. But it was hard because my English level at that time was really limited.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what we were talking about earlier, you guys both were working 2 jobs when you started GiftTree.
Yeah.
And started GiftTree with with about $15,000,
Yeah.
right? And that's really what you started it with. And can you talk about what you started and how that kind of grew from the beginning with the $15,000?
So this was back in the very early days of the internet, and we really wanted to just be squarely based on the internet, trying not to have too many complications. And yeah, we needed computers. We had to hire people to create a website, which at that time was very. It wasn't easy. We had to figure out a way to get the orders transferred in and distributed to the various people that were shipping products on our behalf. I don't remember a lot of the details that time. I remember every day was exciting, and the victories we had were tiny but meaningful, and it was a lot of fun to work together. We had challenges,
Sure.
but we eventually learned how to work very, very well together. And
Okay, so in Key West, right?
Mhm.
You started in Key West. You started this online business. You said you used the $15,000 to start a website, right? So how did you get your first orders? In entrepreneurship, it's all about getting your initial sales, right? And
Right.
at that time, the internet was so new. How did you become?
so back in these days, search engines really weren't very what they are now. It was mostly directories, and Yahoo was the most famous directory at the time. We created something in GiftTree called the Gift Wizard, which we type in the person's gender and age and whatnot. It would make suggestions for gifts. And some editor at Yahoo picked up on that and made us the featured gift company for the holidays for Christmas for 1997.
Wow.
That was a big break.
Okay.
And that was, in fact, it was a huge break. And it kind of launched us into a presence online. Like, we had relevance whenever there was a list of gift companies.
Okay.
Got us very excited, and so I think it was 6 months after that we decided to quit our jobs in Key West and move up to Vancouver, Washington, where I had family that I could literally get help from. I think we lived in my parents' basement for about 4 months, and moved our business into our friend's living room.
Okay.
And that was a very humble beginning.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, as you guys grew the company, the amount of hours, you had to put in, it sounded like, Craig, you were doing a lot of the sales, and Esther, you were helping out in the operations side, whether it was doing the accounting with QuickBooks, like you said, or other things. So where does that work ethic stem for you guys in the beginning, right? How did you come up with this kind of, I call it the hustle DNA, right? Where did that stem from both of you?
My family wasn't very affluent, and we knew since we were teenagers that we needed to help with our expenses. And I remember teaching math to other children and earning money that way, teaching language. And I do remember also traveling to Germany, finding jobs there that will actually pay for the 6 first months of university. Yeah, it's not like it was forced on us. We knew we had to help, and since then I always have been very resourceful.
So in the beginning, how many hours, Esther, would you say you guys are putting into the business? When you first started and you moved to Vancouver, how many hours, a week was that taking?
I think it was 24/7.
Okay.
Because
I think it was about 80 hours a week that we
dedicated to the.
It was sometimes more. I mean, we didn't really have. I remember it was like 2 years there. We didn't have a single day off.
Yeah.
So how about you,
Yeah.
Craig? Where does your work ethic stem?
I was like, point Esther is a perfectionist. She will work at something until she gets it perfect. And it's really amazing to watch her when she gets her mindset on something. My work ethic, when I was a child, I was expected to pay for. My parents did us the great favor of making us pay for things that we wanted. A bicycle. We had to buy our own clothes. They gave us a little allowance. If you wanted extra clothes, you had to, do chores, and they encouraged us to get jobs in the neighborhood. And so you just always wasn't something I thought about until I realized other people had didn't have that privilege of working
Mhm.
and learning what work, the benefits of work as a child. And so that's probably where it came from.
We talked a little bit about your perseverance and work ethic, and obviously to get from the 6 to 10 a day to 25,000 a day and roundabout takes a ton of work. But what type of obstacles or barriers? I know in terms of relentless mentality, you two really share that more than most people. So I was hoping you could share some of the top obstacles or barriers you had in that transition from first, Craig having to get this beautiful Spanish woman to America was a huge barrier, and you had to be extremely relentless. And then you had to move from Key West to Vancouver, Washington. As you guys came together as a couple and started building the business, what are some of the major barriers you can recall that really were difficult for you?
Wow, there's been
So
a lot of
so many.
It just seems like that's just, we kind of realize it's part of the landscape. Just stuff just keeps popping up. And, we've had everything from very unscrupulous competitors to just bad luck or misfortune of being called out for kind of the early days in the internet. We got kind of penalized and removed from all the search engines for not really for doing anything wrong. In fact, it was but just doing it too well. And it just seems like Esther likes to say every year something bad's going to happen, and
it does.
it does. And I think the thing that we've learned is something bad's going to happen, and you need to react quickly and decisively, and without self-pity. I mean, you just need to pick yourself up and move on.
So kind of hearing what you guys are saying, so you have a course of the year. Your business seems very cyclical. You have some a huge season, right? Gifts are during the holidays, so you have during the course of the year all this time to prepare, and anything can happen at the holidays, right? It's the busiest time of year.
So much depends on the holidays. Yeah.
So what was the kind of the first? Most entrepreneurs have that first real gut check that happens in their business where it really took them into an aha moment. Can you think of one major issue that happened within your kind of prime season that was kind of the gut check or aha where you really learned from it and turned that failure into an opportunity and actually a win in the future?
When we got
There
kicked out of
are many.
Google and all those things. So yeah, back in the early 2000s, we have multiple websites, and so they all kind of specialized in one particular type of gift, like a fruit baskets or wine baskets or something like this. And we kind of dominated the listings in all the search engines.
Sure.
And one day we came in and they'd removed us, all the search engines removed all of our websites from the search. So
Yeah.
our sales
Wow.
immediately this was right before Christmas. And that was a major wake-up call, and we got through the holidays. We picked ourselves up. We started to pursue other ways to bring in customers. We started to print a catalog that year.
Okay.
We started to do a lot of paid advertising, which previously we just kind of survived on the ether and the internet. We got very involved in affiliate marketing. And like our one of our favorite quotes, if that doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, it did make us a much stronger, well-balanced company.
So in terms of when you went from the Google algorithms to, you said, a catalog,
Uh-huh.
what did you guys do with that? How did you, that's a big investment usually for a company that's small and scaling. How did you move from the Google algorithm to printing a catalog and the expense of that, and how did you create it, and what were
Very
the
quickly.
ideas?
I did it very quickly.
That
And
same year.
yeah. So we always chose to do everything in-house. So we had a photo studio, we had the designers, we have all these kind of sunk costs. We always decided to make everything that we use. So we wrote our own software. And it was just a matter of repurposing those employees to focus on that task.
Okay.
And
We rallied the whole team and we just prepare. In about 6 months, we went from not knowing how to do a catalog to actually print one.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that we sent out one in the spring that year, and the interesting thing about that year is, our sales were literally cut by almost 70 or 80%, right, for the holidays. We were still profitable that year.
Wow.
as we've been profitable every year since.
70%, and then you were still profitable that
Yeah.
year. Wow.
And a lot of that is just we're very agile, and we don't. I think a lot of entrepreneurs get in trouble when they are not honest with themselves about the challenges that faces, and they don't want to make a really difficult decision, whether it's cutting costs or whatever. But you need to be aware that you're on your own, you know, and so.
So, Esther, you talked about stuff has happened almost annually where you have to prepare for something that's unknown. So, a lot of time in entrepreneurship, there's this fear factor, right? And you two really, to me, kind of represent the yin and yang, right? You really do in your business and personal lives. So, you know, how do you balance, you know, Craig is kind of the big idea guy, right? You're the operations person. How did you balance the fear within your team and within each other when you had these things go on throughout the course of the year?
The interesting thing is that every single problem came as a surprise. So you cannot prepare for that. So I have a general fear. I always say something bad is going to happen, but you don't know where it's going to hit you from. And I think that the only way you prepare is making sure you're going to have time to react, that your teams are done with their projects, that they have spare time, and if something happens anywhere, that you can actually jump and react and solve it. And I'm more, although I have fears, I'm more of a practical person. It's like, okay, give me the problem, I'm going to try to solve it.
Yeah.
But I'm not dwelling on so much of what could happen, and more when I have it, I'm going to deal with it.
Sure. So as a couple, right? Well, we talked a little bit about this before, but it's very rare to see a husband and wife couple in a business, 20 years plus, grow a successful company to be nationwide, multiple warehouses, starting from the basement of their parents' house. How did you two in your relationship balance the professional and personal and keep things, obviously you stayed together through this time period. How did you manage that? I think that's a lot of husband and wives out there, I think, start companies together, and sometimes there's a difficult way to separate what happens at work and at home, and you two have done that successfully. So anything you can share about that would, I think, be a great advice for the community.
So I think we achieved it in many different ways. One of them was to play our strengths. Greg is the visionary, I'm the integrator. So just playing our roles made our partnership successful, I think.
Cool.
I also think that we recognize that our relationship, our love for each other, was far more important than our business.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, but if you remember to treat each other with respect and recognize that there's a relationship there that kind of transcends all the stuff that you're doing. Yeah, I kind of make that sound easy. It's not.
Yeah.
Both partners have to really want to make it work, and they have to compromise where it's necessary to compromise. And I'll actually give Esther the kudos here. She really was the person that taught me how to play my part better, and I'm just very grateful for it. It's been part of what has made it so fun, is working together.
Good.
And we get to share this day in, day out, and it's been fantastic. Esther's a very reluctant entrepreneur. She really didn't want to be an entrepreneur. She made a very good one. I think we made a great team. I really needed her.
Well, both of you come from a non-traditional, background in starting a company. So to hear that and kind of see it play out, I think is amazing. So I think one more question I have about that. So as a couple in the business, was there ever an aha moment, like we are really figuring this out? You talked about your trials and tribulations stuff coming all the time. You talked about kind of, preparing for that and having your teams on point, and kind of culture I know is really important to you guys at GiftTree, and kind of teamwork, passion and commitment and things of that nature. So what was the aha moment as a couple when you guys were in the business and you came home one day and were like, we're doing this, or we are really making a stride here? Do you have one of those, or?
What year was it when we felt comfortable? We said, I think we're going to succeed.
Well, I always felt like that. I knew we were going to. There was another option. And funny though, it's odd. I always felt that we were going to succeed. But at a certain point, banks decided to loan us money. And contrary to what most people believe, banks don't loan money to people that need it.
Yeah.
They loan money to people with collateral.
Yeah.
And, we had nothing. And so that was, I want to say 2005, 2007, somewhere in there. We're talking about a very small amount of money. I mean, we had no funding at all. It was all just bootstrapped. And that, I think, when we realized that they would loan us money. In 2006, I think, something like that.
I think it's when we got organized. We knew what the flow was. We knew how our projections were basically right for every year, and just everything started to go smoother.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's for me when I thought this is going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been now 3 years since you guys have moved into the executive chairman role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat out of the day-to-day business.
Mm-hmm.
What is next for you guys? Where do you see the company going? The strengths in the market now, and as chairman, how does your position change and removing yourself from the business? Right, that's not easy either, since it's the baby that you guys both kind of put together and grew up from childhood to adulthood. So what's next, and how's that transition been?
Actually, it was easy for me to remove myself from the Let me tell you why. Because I do not have business background.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to recognize that the company has outgrown you. And so that's why, for me, it was a very easy decision to take. And now we are to other adventures. That we have a farm in Spain. And I think we're just going to create a great brand there for our own farm products and so on. It's not going to be a business. This is a fun enterprise,
Yeah.
For me, I think we still have a very relevant role to play in our company. It to Esther's point, it did really outgrow us. My background was always really just being a motivator, not really a very good administrator. So recognizing that the company's needs were more than we could provide was important.
Yeah.
We always want to do right by our employees. We have an employee stock option plan. We hope to turn that into great value for them that have been with us for so many years. But yeah, we're very involved in the business. I think in the areas that we feel that we can have good influence. But we're very passionate about this farm. It's just the most exciting thing in our lives.
You guys are lighting up about the farm.
It's just really exciting. It's basically a medieval village that we've purchased on top of a hill, and we are just really excited about getting started there. And we're also, we make it sound like we're kind of removed from the company. We're not. We have meetings almost every day.
Yeah.
And I think that we still have a big role to play, especially in maintaining or developing the brand. Not developing, especially in maintaining or what.
Okay, so I think we still have a very big role to play in the company about the long-term strategy about how our brand sits and serves the market, and in particular the product and how our products serve the customer.
Yes.
I think we have a unique understanding of what has made GiftTree successful, because
Sure.
we really are recognized within our industry as the premier brand.
Sure.
And we've just kind of killed ourselves to make sure we provide that for our customers.
Okay, so 3 final questions for you guys, and feel free to split them up however you'd want. So, first one, if you could start over today, right? You were back in Key West, Florida, right? You guys were both working 2 jobs at the time, and had to restart GiftTree in the same environment. What would you do differently? Or would you do anything differently?
That's a hard question. I'm kind of nostalgic,
Okay.
And I truly value the whole experience we had, the wins and the losses. And in the end, I'm not sure I would, yes, I'd probably change a few big mistakes.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty happy how
Yeah.
things turned out. It's been a lot of fun.
I think I would have joined Vistage earlier.
There you go.
So-
Get some experience, some
Yeah.
business coaching,
Sure.
training.
Mm-hmm.
So Vistage is a peer-to-peer coaching group that really helps you work on others' problems to really help solve your own problems
Right.
and
Yeah.
create a network of peers that are going
Yeah.
through the same type of trials, tribulations, successes
Right.
as yourself too. So you would join a peer-to-peer group, whether it's Vistage, YPO, EO, any of those earlier?
Well, the unique thing about Vistage is that there wasn't really a networking group. It was a really people that were interested in helping you solve your problems.
They're in the trenches too.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah. So if we could find something like Vistage earlier on, but that would have
Yeah.
been very helpful because we were learning everything the hard way.
Okay.
And you realize there are so many other companies that go through the same problems, and you're just not alone there. So I think that would have been very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point,
Yeah.
Esther.
So for both of you, I guess I'll ask this one too. So what one secret of success would you offer to others, whether it's working as husband and wife or in business, or just the one kind of secret of success? What would you offer as kind of the advice to others, the one piece that people could take away?
Esther?
So for your business, I say one thing is pay very, very good attention to your culture. I think that's a lot of people take that for granted, especially when there are smaller companies. I think it's vital. And another is, like Greg always says, don't spend more than you have.
Yeah, don't spend more money than you have. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd echo those two things, and I think I'd add a third, which would be never give up.
Yeah.
It really is about just perseverance
Yeah.
and just laser focused.
Okay. Last one. Again, both of you would love to hear what you both think. What are you most proud of?
I would say our culture. I'm proud of what we've, but I think that if you ask me what our treasure is, it's our culture. Sweetie, you okay, baby?
Sorry. I got a little.
No, it's okay.
Honey?
I guess I'm done.
Is that what we're most proud of, is our culture? Do you think? I mean, I think how when I start talking about our company, I start talking about the culture at GiftTree.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's this thing about going through all that and still being very much in love.
Yeah.
Like that, just growing every year. And that's, I don't know if I'm proud of that. I guess it's like, I'm really, happy about that.
Yeah.
And it's taken work, I suppose.
Well, I'm extremely grateful for both of you.
Oh, yeah.
I think people come into our lives for certain reasons at certain times, and I owe you both an extreme amount of gratitude for helping me professionally, personally. A lot of love shared between all of us, and I can't thank you enough for coming on today and sharing your story. And I just love both of you. So I really appreciate you guys doing this, and hopefully we'll have you back, and maybe we'll even visit Spain and be able to see the farm one day in the future. Show everybody the culmination of the dream from Key West to Meru, Spain, and on the farm. So thank you both.
Thank you
Thank you for the
Justin.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please subscribe in the links below. And remember, never to quit, always be relentless.